Hi, welcome back to this episode of SiSTARS Chat, and today is another episode, episode 6, and today we're going to be discussing African folklore. So my name is Tosin, and here with me I have my sisters in the house. Sister, who goes first to introduce herself? Yes, sister.
Hello, everyone. It's Sister Dajanna, all the way from Colombia. I hope everyone is ready to hear our chat today. We also have Sister Shayla.
Hi everyone, it's SiSTAR Shayla. I'm excited to have another episode with my SiSTARs, and I hope you guys are enjoying our series.
Okay, so it's promised to be a wonderful time where we'll be discussing a lot about African folklore. And we're also going to be talking about the latest news, which Sister Dajanna is going to lead us on about the latest news, so we can discuss on that. So, Sister Dajanna, what do you?
Okay, so in Colombia, what's been going on in Colombia? Well, recently I found out about, I'm sorry, I always talk about not good things in a sense, but I found out actually about a month ago there was an incident at my public university, Universidad del Valle. It's one of the best public universities in the country. Yes, it's in Cali. It actually happened on school grounds. There was
Oh my gosh.
a social leader and her assistant were unalived. Well, yesterday they found out that it was someone from their job at the school that hired someone to unalive the ladies.
Wow.
But one of them was a social justice leader for the school and for people in the city. So that was really strange. And then, of course, I found out about what happened in Louisville, Kentucky over the weekend. The 25-year-old guy that got fired from his job and then went back and, committed the crime of unaliving people at his old job. Other than that, the weather has been great in Colombia. We don't have seasons here. But I want to say right now it's the rainy season in a sense. I know that in different parts of the motherland, it's about the same. Like you have a dry season and a wet season, right, Tosin?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
How is
The
the
sun is
weather
somehow
where you're from?
okay. Yeah, from in Nigeria, where I am, because we have different states in Nigeria, and it's
Right.
different somehow in some other states. So there are some states that are especially the northern side, where the sun is extremely hot. Things over there sometimes
Okay.
might be extreme, but where I am, the sun is okay, not too hot, not too harsh, and the rain is okay, not too
Okay.
much. Everything is just normal. Okay, so yesterday it rained a little bit, and today it's sunny. So that's it.
Well,
We
girls,
have
That's
very
wonderful.
nice weather.
it's
Nice
hot
weather,
in
not
Maryland. Okay.
yeah.
I live on
We
the
don't
East
have
Coast. Hot.
we don't experience. So how about you, Sister Shayla?
Yeah, I was saying it's hot here. Like it got hot like overnight. It was
Wow.
like cold. Then we got like 3 days of spring on the East Coast of the United States, and then it just got super super hot. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to go through my closets, all the closets, and like bag up winter clothes. Give away my daughter's clothes because she won't be able to fit them again this winter. So this even it's hot. I like the heat. Easy for vitamin D. When people get vitamin D, they much more chill. They much more like a vibe. So I'm excited about the vitamin D and the sun, but having to sort through all these clothes, It is not giving, sisters. It is not giving.
Time to give away some things.
Exactly. That's the season I'm in right now. Giving away stuff
That's
and
just
getting
it.
tired.
Literally, right before I
No,
left,
though, I
I
mean,
bagged up 2 bags of clothes that I know I'm not going to wear anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this time of year is like, oh. But anyway, I like it. You know, I'm always a person that's like happy about life most of the time, and you know, look on the positive side of things, and blah blah blah. As people say. All right, I'm turning it back over to you, Tosin.
exactly. Okay, so today we are going to talk about our main topic, and that is African folklore. We're going to be talking
Yes.
about it in different perspective. You know, African folklore. Growing up as a child, how can we describe African folklore? How do I describe African folklore growing up as a child in Nigeria? So now, when I was growing up as a child, the television is not a common thing. So we enjoy story by the moonlight. I find it very interesting to listen to my grandmom. She tells me a lot of stories which are always interesting. I'm always eager to learn, to hear new things, to learn things from her. So I think these are some of the things that have actually formed the system of belief and has actually formed a kind of added values to us as African child. So I want to hear from your own perspective. What is how is the folklore over there? What is it? Then I'll come back and talk more about Nigeria folklore. What's the folklore? What's the general belief? Because in Nigeria, there's this folklore. We always portray tortoise as a very smart, wise animal, and we use tortoise a lot in most of the stories in Nigeria to talk about characters, good characters, talk about how smart, how cunning, how different. We use tortoise to depict a lot of different characters and animals. So I want to hear from you, what is folklore like in your country? Yeah, who goes for us, Sister D?
In Colombia, our folklore can come from the country. And what is country in Colombia? For us, the country is people that live in the farmlands. Usually, they live higher up in the mountains. The cities in Colombia are usually in valleys. For some reason, they created our major cities, some of our major cities in valleys. Where I'm from, Cali, it is in a valley between 2 mountain ranges. Most of the folklore from Cali could be religious folklore. Usually it involves demons or the devil for some reason. Or there's other things like gnomes or la bruja, which is like the witch or something like that. And they say these are like real cases that happened. My dad said he was scratched by a bruja one day. I don't know if this is true. My dad lies a lot. So so I don't know. He likes to make up stuff a lot. So I don't know if it was true or not. And you know, he said one time that there was a bruja that was in love with him because the witch would fall in love with beautiful young men, and apparently my dad was a beautiful young man. So honestly, he was really skinny with an afro, but so he says at one time, sometimes when the bruja was obsessed with him, he would hear like footsteps on the roof of the house. Sometimes he would see like shadows. And then one day he woke up with a scratch on his chest. He's like, the bruja scratched me, but I don't know if this is really true, guys. I really don't know. But there's many different legends. Most of the things I've heard are to scare you for some reason, and not. It was more so that you go to bed on time, and not be up late. another like there's a really the one that I really that's really really famous. So there's a hill here in Cali. It has three crosses. Um, in Medellin, where I am right now, there's also a hill with three crosses. Now I don't know the story to that one, but I know the story to the one in Cali. Why the three crosses are there? To this day, people still go up to the three crosses. They hike up there. It's a sport at this point. Also during Easter week, Colombia celebrates Good Friday, but we also have Good Thursday. It's called Maundy Thursday, but we call it Jueves Santo, or Saint Thursday Saints. It's like the Saints Day on Thursday and Saints Day Friday. But that day, there's I want to say there's like a legend around the death of Christ that at 3 p.m. that was the time he died, because at 3 p.m. it's like on cue. It gets dark. Like it could be a beautiful sunny day, but at 3 p.m. that Thursday when he passed, it always gets really dark and it starts thundering and lightning and it rains really bad for hours. But this is like every year. So I don't know if it's like the one conscious mind and it happens, but it happens every year. But during this time on Good Friday, a lot of religious Colombians are mostly Roman Catholic. So they hike up. That's their pilgrimage. You know, some people go to Mecca, some people go to Jerusalem. In Colombia, we go up to the Jesus Christ statue in Cali, or we go up to the three crosses, because this year the Jesus Christ statue is closed for repairs. They're accommodating the monument so that it's easier access for people who are handicapped. So they're going to organize it with these beautiful trails to see every side of the city. You can see the rural side of Cali and you can see the city side of Cali. But they say, legend says that the three crosses are up there because a demon called the Busiraco came from Cartagena. Cartagena is a city where, unfortunately, it was a place where enslaved Africans were sold. It was one of the first places in the Americas where they started bringing enslaved peoples from Africa over. And there was a hill called La Loma de la Popa, and they have three crosses up there. So the Busiraco had the city terrorized. They chased him out of there. Somehow he came to Cali. And I don't think he ever left, but I don't think the three crosses helped, ladies. But the three crosses are there. You know, they said the Busiraco brought with him death, sin, fornication, prostitution, adultery. All these bad things were brought to the city because of this so-called demon. So a friar took it upon himself to create three crosses made out of Colombian bamboo. It's called guadua. It's a thicker version of the Asian bamboo. It's really thick. And people use it for everything. You can create homes, furniture, anything that you can think of, you can do with guadua. So he created these three crosses made out of guadua, and it so-called chased the demon out of the city. There's another story for Easter as well. You're not supposed to, fornicate during this time because you'll be stuck together like dogs, right? Or you shouldn't go to the sea because you're turned into a sea creature, right? You shouldn't go to the club because you might run into the devil. And then here's another story. One time there was a girl. This is a story they tell young girls so that they don't go out during Easter because you're going to go crazy or the devil's going to find you, whatever. So there was a girl who was told, do not go out, do not go out. She sneaked out, went to the club, met this gorgeous man, right? The man said, let's dance, but don't look at my feet. So at the end of the dance, of course, she looked at his feet. His feet weren't feet, they were hooves, right? Like the devil. And then like a tail started to come out. And legend says that he turned into the devil. The girl went crazy. She's still crazy to this day. You know, so that is a couple of the folklore that I know in Colombia. And in Latin America in general, there's like one story called La Llorona, which is of a woman that cries because she lost her child. And this is like a story that is all throughout from Mexico to Peru. Every country has a crying lady that appears when you least expect it.
Interesting, interesting. Now, these stories you've said, you've narrated, just um, give me an idea that almost all African story has somehow the same thing. I think one of the ways we pass, based on the story you've told, the story that has to do with moral, that has to do with how to help people to behave well as a good child, especially the girls. Now, if I relate it with the some of the folklores in Nigeria, somehow related, because I remember vividly a lot of folk tales and folklores that I've listened to. I remember there was this one because I met a man that when I ask the man questions, there is literally nothing the man will not be able to tell a story about. So there was this
Wow.
palm tree, and the man told me a story about how the palm tree came about. There is always a story for everything. If I tell him there's a water somewhere, he will tell me how the water came about. So I told him that. Um, tell him the story. The man told me that a particular rock, a certain rock in a state in Nigeria, Ekiti State, he said the rock got there as a result of something that happened. So he narrated the story, and it was I found it very difficult to disbelieve him because the story looks so real. So I don't know how they cook up the story and they keep passing it from generation. So he told me, then I also tell someone else, this. I keep telling my sisters, my friends, and the story kept going on and on like that. So I remember the story during that period in Ekiti State. So the rock, the rock was named after this particular man. He was a great warrior then. So there was a battle from the neighboring state, neighboring village. So the man couldn't conquer the war. He has been conquering the war over the years. So this particular time, he couldn't conquer the war, and he wanted to protect his people. So the man turned himself to a rock in order to prevent the enemies from attacking them. And since then, the rock has been there, and people sacrifice and kill cows. Initially, the cow demands human being, according to the story, but now they sacrifice cows every year. It's a festive they celebrate at Ekiti State, celebrating the man. His name is Olosuta, like it's a rock. So the festival is named after the man. They keep celebrating him on the account that he was able to rescue them. So I've heard a lot of stories like that. Those stories, somehow I don't want to believe that all the stories are true, but it's a kind of way we, as African, pass down morals to the next generation because
Mm-hmm.
we don't actually have a kind of written culture for years. So there's a way of passing down the story and keeping morals, the belief system, the tradition, and keep doing that. So I want us to talk about, okay, we Sister Sheila be able to talk about that now. I guess if she's not busy. Now I also want us to talk about the importance of these what do we think, though we've said a little bit of that, but I want us to look at it again. the importance of this African folklore in our society.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the importance.
Well, I will
Why do
say
you
that
think?
I will say
Yes, you
this.
want?
Yeah, yeah. I heard you call my name. Like, oh my gosh, I'm in the back eating, y'all. Sorry. I didn't want you don't care, but let's just be clear. All right. So because we were colonized and we came from West Africa, a lot of us did. We don't have like a traditional sense of a folklore. I mean, if we do, they're super hyper local, right? So like in Maryland, we have like this witch thing that used to live in the woods, but that's like hyper local in like certain cities. But I will say some things were brought down through generations. So typically when we think about folklore, we think about like a belief system or something that's like religious or metaphysics or something like that, right? So for us, it's the things that were passed down. It could be from mother to daughter and whatnot, or father to son. But from mother to daughter, there's two that I thought about as we talked about this broadcast. Um, the very first thing is, and this you guys may have it too. Maybe that's where we got it from. But on a woman's side, passed down to mother, is you do not put your purse on the floor. And that's kind of like a custom type thing. If we put our purse on the floor, we're inviting like being poor. Like if you put your purse on the floor, it means like you're gonna lose money. So you always have to keep your purse off the floor. It could be on a couch, it could be, on a ledge, as long as it's not a floor because you're inviting like financial woes or being poor. So that's one of them. The other ones, I think this is more familial than anything. But the other one that's like in terms of how our family practice is like, say if you have a celebration or an event where you have your elders present, so like cookout, Christmas, anything like that, you always serve your elders first. The elders pray over the food, like the oldest person pray over the food, and then after that, they're always served first. So that's one of those folklores in terms of customs that we do, and it's sort of something that's within the system that we were raised up in terms of mother to daughter. So yeah, that's that for us. For
Where did splitting the pole come from? Talking about don't split the pole.
Oh, I think that's more like Caucasian American. I don't really think that's
really
in African Americans. Yeah, like I didn't learn about that until I went to college.
Oh wow! I grew up with that in Houston. Like
really?
with all my black friends, it was like so. Tosin, there's this thing growing up with my black friends. It was if you are all together on the same sidewalk and there's a pole. Yeah, I guess it's like so you don't have bad luck. Everyone has to go on the same side of the pole because if you don't, you split the pole. Yeah, it got to a point where it was like I don't even care about splitting the pole. Is that even true? Like, can we just walk?
Yeah, so I literally learned that from like my Caucasian friends in college. Literally,
wow, that is so funny.
Yeah, in the community. But yeah, so you never know how folklore comes up. But Sister Tosin, I'm sorry. I heard you call my name. Like, oh, I'm hurting. Eat this food real quick.
Okay. That's fine. I understand properly. Okay, it's a wonderful one. Like I said, growing up as a child, as African child, these are some of the things that has formed our belief, our perspective about life, and the things we do. So I remember the story. I don't know if other parents do that too, but my mom did that for me. So I don't know. She noticed something or something. She called my sister and I. Then she was discussing some things with us, and she said, "There is this particular two girls I want to tell you about." Then she told us about one. Then I noticed that folklore is usually an aspect of a good versus bad, which has formed a kind of belief system in us as we grow up, that there's something we have we call good, and there's something we say call bad. So no one wants to belong to the bad side. So the story, so she told us that a woman gave birth to two kids, and so she sent them to sell things at the market. Two girls to sell things, and she sells like pap. So once she sent them to the market to sell, there's this particular girl that always come back home without selling what she has been sent to sell. Rather, the little money she makes from selling it, she will buy fish, then eat the fish and hide those things under the bed. She kept doing that over and over and over and over again until a certain day. Then the woman said, "It's Christmas period. There's this festive period, not actually Christmas, but she told us that there's this festive period, and it is once in a year where your mom will get you nice clothes and you all go out." So this girl, the mom told them that she has gotten the clothes for them. They should go to their room, put on the clothes and change, and they are all going out. The family are going out. So each of them went into the room. Let me try to record the name. It's Omowumi, it's a Yoruba name. Omowumi and Omosha. Those are the two names of the girl. So now the name of Omowumi means like I is a kind of name that shows that a precious child, like a prestigious child, that someone a child I love to have Omowumi. And the other one, which is the bad child, is like Omosha, like anyhow child, like someone who is not really important. That's the name in Yoruba. So I was like, okay. After narrating the story, then she said still narrating the story, said she asked the two girls to go into the room and get whatever they see inside the bag. So they all checked the bag. The one that is called Omosha opened the bag and saw bones, leaves, and everything she has been doing hiding under the bed. The mom has packed. While the second one that's been a good girl selling all those stuff, the mother has packed the nice clothes, shoe, and everything. So she put on those things and she came outside. The other one came out and she was crying, "Mom, why would you do such a thing?" And the mother said, "Exactly the way you've been doing. I've been watching you, I've been observing everything you've been doing over the years. And that's the reward for doing what you've been doing. So now you have to stay back while we all go out to enjoy ourselves." So she was crying and weeping bitterly. And when my mom finished the story and said, "Which one do you want to be?" Then I said, "Mom, I want to be the Omo." I don't know what I did, but sometimes they just make up story just to instill. They don't beat us. They don't beat
Just
us.
to scare you, yes.
Just a kind of, "Oh, who do you want to be?" So I said, "Mommy, no, I want to be that Omo Wumi, that one that you said is a good child. That is what I want to be." So anytime I'm
Right.
doing anything, I just want to make sure that I'm
How
being that.
manipulative.
Yeah, just I wanted to be that very good girl. So I don't know. So there's
Right.
this they come about, keep on telling us stories, and these stories over the years, aside going to maybe aside being aside the religious aspect of it, so it has been some of the things that has instilled fears in in the younger generation, and this.
Right.
But
And
I'm not.
respect.
Yeah, I'm afraid to
Eh,
some extent that these stories, if we stop passing some of these stories, folk tales, folklore, if we stop passing it on to the next generation, we might not have the kind of value system we have while we were growing up as a child. So
Right.
now, just like I said some of the importance of this folklore in our society is to instill that fear, should I say fear?
Yes.
Yes, to instill that fear in the children, which is one of the importance of
Yes.
folk folk tales and folklore. So I also want us to
Right.
look at another thing I want us to talk about is, we are from different countries in Africa and we have different background. But I know
Mm-hmm.
that there's this thing that is very common, and I want us to talk about it on from our own based on our own perspective, or based on our own background or what we know about it. So I want us to talk about the common theme, because I know, of course, there's something that unites us together as Africa. Now, when we go to this country, we'll find out it's the same thing. When I go to Ghana, I discover that, oh, Ghana has similarities with our kind of folklore. When I go to Kenya, it's a bit similar. Why? When I go to other countries, it's a bit similar. So I want us to talk about the common things that are that are the common things in these different folklores in different countries, in different African countries. What are the common things that we have in our folklore? So we can talk about that then. Or if I ask what are the things, then we'll see where we come together or where we have a common goal when it comes to the folklore. Is it almost the same thing here? Is this the same thing? So let's talk about some of the common things that we can find in our um, folklore, depending, regardless of the type of animals we use to portray our characters or the type of folk tales we've been passed, folklores we've been passed. I'm using folklore folk tales. Depending on the folklores we've been passing from one generation to the other, can we come and examine the themes? Let's examine the themes
Right.
and see.
Right. Like there's always a theme of respecting your elders. You
Mhm,
know, there's
mhm.
always that thing of fearing them and respecting the people who are older than you, your elders usually. I want to add that I would love to go to the Amazon, but Colombia has a state called Amazonas, and this
Okay.
is where the rainforest is. So there's a lot of indigenous tribes there, and I know they have tons of stories about animals and jaguars and the pink bottlenose dolphin from the river and other indigenous characters that I may not know about as well. This is why I want to travel there, because I want to find out what similarities there are in their folklore to African folklore.
Okay. Some of those folklores that I've also seen while growing up, some of the themes rather that I know, of course, could will always be a universal one is when I listen to some folklores of some animals, when animals are usually used as characters. I found out that
Mm-hmm.
discovered that some of these things are about love, some of it about death,
Yes.
death, and some are also considered to be that of supernatural forces. Like
Yes.
you find it difficult. Oh, how can this animal have this power? Okay, I said I
Right.
was talking about a particular story the other time. Then so I asked my, so not to even ask him, he was just talking to us. These elderly people, they love talking. So the old man was telling us stories about how he went into the water and how he came back bringing fish from the goddess of the water. I was wondering, this man, how true is that? So the man was telling us the story of how he went to the water, though
Mm-hmm.
powerful. He told us he's a powerful person, and he usually have meetings when he was young, when he was still powerful, that he usually have meeting and he goes into the water. And to confirm that he actually went there, they gave him smoked fish from uh the goddess of the water gave him smoked fishes like fish.
Oh,
Yes. So to
wow. Smoked
evidence that
fish coming out of the water. Okay.
so he said that's an evidence that he actually went into the water and they gave it to him and he brought it out. And people were like, wow, Marvel. So somehow they talk about supernatural. They talk about supernatural things that you find difficult to believe. Then another one that I said, the woman, I don't know if you know, if you're familiar with this palm front or palm tree. I don't know if that's called. I think it's a general name for it. If you know palm tree, palm oil. So
Yes.
yeah, the tree. So the man also told me a story about how that palm, that particular palm nut is formed on the tree. He told the story that someone had a quarrel with the wife, and so he headed the wife and threw the head up, and that was how the thing looks like the woman here. I said, oh, really? Okay. Then
Wow.
even up till now, there's this particular water like ocean. Should I say it's not ocean, right? River. Let me use the word river. So these two rivers don't meet. It's a very popular one in Nigeria. These two rivers don't meet. They don't come together. They are fighting. So it's part of when I was growing up, I read it as part of comprehension passage in my English textbook when I was in secondary school. So we were told that there's this river that do not come together. They are fighting because they married one husband, and because of rivalry, one was wanted the husband to love her more. She did some things. Maybe she cut her hair to prepare a nice meal because she asked the second wife, "How come our husband loves your meal? What have you been doing?" So the other one told her that I cut a part of my hair, and that was how what I added to the meal, and that's why the meal is delicious. But the woman always put on hijab, that Muslim scarf, to cover her, so she couldn't even find out if that is true or not. So the woman decided to do the same thing because she want the husband to love her more. So she cut the part of her hair and prepared it with the meal, and she served their husband. And the moment the husband tasted that meal, the husband turned to a big. The man had to, because it's like a kind of taboo for him to do that. He's a powerful man, a warrior, great warrior. So it's a taboo to eat human flesh. So doing that has actually affected those powers he had. So he found, when he discovered that this was what happened, he went out, and in another hands he turned to a big rock which is separating the two waters till today. So the two waters don't come together. Yes, in Nigeria,
Wow.
the two waters don't come together. They are always fighting. They are always separate. If you put them in a kind of bottle, the bottle will spill out. Everything will not just be together because they are considered as still fighting, because the story ended up that they both turned to water. The other one turned to this water, and the other one turned to this water. The husband in the middle separating them, the big rock,
He
and the wife don't
uh-huh.
come together. They will always fight. River, is it river? What's the river? I say river or Oya, and river Oya and Oshun or Okun. Those two waters don't come together. They are fighting. Human being turn water. So talking about some of the themes of the African
Tosin,
supernatural. Talking about
Tosin.
natural aspect. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I didn't know when to like double dutch and jump in and say something, but
Okay.
like you said something that's kind of okay. So in order, they have this thing, I don't know what you call it, but let me just say what it is. Where in order, if you want a man to love you or like you more, this is kind of gross, but this is a part of things, spirituality, I guess. You're supposed to use your menstruation and put that in his food to make him love you. Have you guys heard that
And this
before?
is why a lot of people don't go to everyone's house and eat red spaghetti sauce.
Oh, that's you. Oh, okay.
Yes, a lot
Okay,
of
so you
black
have heard
mothers
that
tell,
before.
yes, a lot of black mothers tell their black sons don't go and eat red sauce spaghetti at just any girl house because you don't know if they might try to soul tie you with their ministration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Tosin, is that kind of similar to? Have you
No, no,
ever heard of that?
actually, the woman has a secret, and the secret is she usually, the other woman, they are rivals.
Mm,
They are rivals. So the other woman does not want the other one to know the secret, so that the husband will keep loving her. And the secret to that meal she has been preparing was that she has been preparing snail. And that snail looks like, to some extent, looks like wait, it's not actually the hair, it's the human private part. So it looks very
oh,
similar, looks very similar. So she told the woman to prepare it, that's what she has been doing. That she has been doing that
so
stuff. So she said,
cute.
yeah, go ahead, do it. So the other woman said, "Oh, really? That's what you did? Okay, I'm going to try it." So she did the same thing and prepared the meal, thinking that the husband will just keep loving her, not knowing
Mhm.
that the second wife or the first wife does not want to reveal the secrets to her. So she was gullible enough to do the same thing she told her, and you know. So now, what I was trying to even bring out from the story is the extent to which we were told that they both turned to river, and up till now the river is still in existence. So I'm just going to Google and confirm, even maybe You can check River Oji Okun Oshun and River Oya. River Oya. So those two rivers don't come together based on the story we've heard. So there's always a story to back up anything we experience in our society, even the cloud. Tell us stories, how the cloud came about, what happened, how the thing was white out. So there's always this story. So I want us to also look at something. So we've been able to have a common theme about Africa that African folklores, which is the fact that African folklores we usually talk about supernatural power. Supernatural power. They talk about love and talk about themes, and these are themes that are very common, right? Very very common.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
everywhere we go, these are things that people always portray as part of the folklore and which has actually had to be the society. So I don't know if anyone wants to chip in something before we talk about some other things.
I think it was perfect.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about wait, I got something here, so I want to. Okay, so can we talk about how the modern? How do you think this African folklore that has been passed to generations? How do you think we can actually um, we can actually integrate it into this modern generation, and those things we've learned will not, or those things that have actually formed a kind of belief system that has actually helped a lot of people to have these oneness, unity in the society. I don't think it will not just vanish, like it will go out. It will not even be reckoned with again. I'm talking about the value system that are very, very much okay and should be passed from generation to generation. What are those things you think we can actually do to ensure these things are passed down to the next generation? Can we just talk about that? I want Sister
Yeah.
Sheila to for
We
Sheila to
just need to practice it. Like we just need to make sure we teach it to our children. So it's not lost. I think
Correct.
just instilling it from a young age too. Like not when they're adults and we're past the time of instilling value in culture. You got to do this early. You know, especially when it deals with respecting elders. So that's my 2 cents.
Yes.
What about you, Dajanna?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Um, Oral tradition has been a thing in the African diaspora since the beginning of time. And it's a practice that shouldn't be lost. We should always tell the next generation these stories so that they don't get lost, so that there's some type of moral compass, I guess,
Right.
in a sense, because we live in a society where we're so used to seeing violence and used to seeing
Yeah.
all types of negative things. These are the type of things that we should be passing on all the time, forever. I
awesome,
love I love oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
awesome, awesome. It's
It's
awesome.
definitely something I will pass on to my kids. All the stories that I know or that I learned, I will definitely pass them on.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, in a society in Africa and in Nigeria in particular, there are a lot of channels that have been created to pass the story on
Nice.
this folklore. So what
That
they
is
do, they create
beautiful.
yes, a kind of TV show programs where children come together to listen to ancient stories that has to do with morals, that has to do with some kind of belief system of a particular culture, society, and from there they learn a whole lot. I think. Do we have any other thing we want to contribute to to this folk tales, folklore, anything we want to
No,
talk
I
about?
think we covered it. We've
That
been
was
broadcasting
amazing.
for an
Yeah, it
hour.
was great.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a wonderful one. It's nice. It's nice having you on board, Sister D, Sister Shayla, and it's wonderful having everyone here today. And I want to believe that we keep on passing this down to the next generation. It's awesome. Like,
I say.
but
Yes.
yes, yes, without the TV, sometimes just disregard the TV,
I
smart
know.
that actually affected
Put the
people.
phone down.
Let them
Yes.
listen. Let them enjoy stories,
Life. Enjoy life.
enjoy life
Right.
without the modern technology and everything. It's very interesting. Look, so it's been a wonderful time, and of course. So, what will be your word of encouragement to everyone there? What do you want to advise parents or people to about the folk tales or folklore? How do you want to advise them? What do you say?
You need to love your elders. You need to respect and love your elders. They have a lot of stories. I think sometimes younger generation is the lack of respect. Meaning, it's simple things like if it's an older person walking, they need the door. They need a little assistance. They'll just walk past them and not open the door, and they're going to one day need the help too. So I would
Correct.
suggest certainly teaching our children to love our community members, and that includes elders, right? I think that's so
Hmm.
important to pass that value system down. And another one for me is, like I mentioned, just making sure you value, like the whole purse thing is almost like valuing yourself. So I want to
Hmm.
make sure, especially the girls, because I have a daughter, obviously, making sure we value ourselves. Because I feel like, again, this new generation, they literally wear tape on their breast, or they hardly wear any clothes. And I
Right.
think we
Where's
need.
the mystery?
Right. Where's the mystery? Exactly. So I feel
Yeah.
like we need to respect ourselves a little bit more. I mean, every once in a while, you want to show a little something, that's fine, be cute. But I think there's respect and beauty in conservatism as well, and values.
Correct.
Mm,
Correct. I just want the new generation. I really recommend that people document these
Mm,
stories.
yep.
It's important to actually write them down, put them
Yep.
down somewhere to be recorded
Yep.
because things get lost. It's like
Yep.
my grandmother, rest in peace, she passed away in October last year, and there were still things that I needed to ask my elder, and
Mm-hmm.
now I can't.
Yep.
I can't get that information, but I did document enough to find out a few things of my own family history for me to start the search of like
Right.
where my great grandfather came from
Oh,
and
that's
things like
awesome,
that.
Sister Dajanna.
Yes.
Hmm.
oh, may also keep on resting in peace. Just like you've said, just
Thank
like
you.
you and Sister Sheila have said, respect is very important. Respect is reciprocal. You cannot learn the history of the past from the elders when there's no respect. Growing up as a child, you cannot see an elder carrying up something without helping. You definitely have to help the person, take it down to his house. So I think
Hmm.
it's part of the belief system. So respect is very important. And like you've said, documentation is very important. Otherwise, all these things will become things of will become history, and we won't even know about it again. So it's very important with this,
Correct.
and it's very important that we respect our headers. So that is it for today. It's a nice time. It's nice time with you, Sister Shayla. It's nice time with you, Sister D.
It was amazing.
It's really amazing. It's good to have you in the house, and our audience is good to have you. So we'll see you same time, same station.
Adios.
Oh, that
Bye.
bye.